Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to give you one of the final games that I'm probably going to be able to cast from Evil Geniuses IdrA as a member of Evil Geniuses, up against WhackMaster, who is actually playing random here in the top right. We see IdrA down here in the bottom left as the blue Zerg. Most of you probably know by now, if you are avid enough esports fans, that Evil Geniuses IdrA has been released from Team EG as of, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Noah broke on State of the Game with In Control and JP. And I guess I could spend a little bit of time kind of giving my thoughts on that. Now, I've always been kind of a fan of IdrA because of his outspoken nature. He is going for a drone scout really early, as opposed to WhackMaster, who's not. Production tab's open, so I'm going to tell my story. You guys are just going to listen. And with Evil Genius IdrA always being kind of an outspoken individual, it has put him as a very polarizing member of the Starcraft community. On one hand, he's obviously a really great player, but he's somebody that's always taken the balance of the game and his choices as something very personal. So, for instance, I know he's been at a lot of very famous tournaments and dropped out of games really early when he probably didn't need to. Really just about making more of a statement than anything else. But it makes it really hard to be a really hardcore fan of IdrA's because essentially he gives up sometimes too easy and he blames the balance of the game for his own actions. And that's probably the reason why he hasn't gone back up to the really high grand finals kind of level that he was maybe a year ago in Wings of Liberty. And people could argue that in Wings of Liberty, Zerg had a pretty tough time for a while, then it got patched and it was doing pretty good. So I don't like letting the actual design of the game stand up too high against anything. We do have a hatchery already going down for WhackMaster, which seems like IdrA is parking a Zergling back. Sorry, not a Zergling. He's parking himself one of his drones back here, which I don't know if that's absolutely necessary. He does have an Overlord over here, so this might as well return home and be something more valuable. The last I've heard of IdrA, he was playing, I believe, a little bit in World Cyber Series, a little bit for Evil Geniuses, but he really hasn't been one of their forefront players for a while. Now that they've gotten obviously J-Dong in place, Revival, Suppy. So there's some pretty stellar Zerg players from Korea that are now part of that team. And when I read the statement of release for IdrA, it wasn't that he was playing bad, actually. It wasn't that they needed to move on and find something more effective. It was really more about the way that he was treating the community. And I haven't followed up yet to see exactly what comments those were. But I do know that he would obviously blame other professional players or Blizzard or anything else for his problems. Some of the trouble with that, a couple of Zerglings out on the front here. Speed is almost done. Part of the trouble with that is, like, you can always blame other people or rage at other players and things because, yeah, that's part of the game. But the community, and the reason why I kind of back Evil Genius' decision, is you can't go after your community. Esports relies on sports fans. And if you're not going to be able to roll with the punches or mature as a player that's going to really evolve with your fan base, there isn't really a lot of room for you in the league. So, I know when I watch other Zerg players doing really well that have just as much complaint as any. Ooh, busty. I'm drinking some Magners right now. Some really tasty Irish cider. Apparently it was established in 1935. I think IdrA is more than prepared for this. He does have 3 crawlers on the way. And behind this, both players are droning up now. So we go to units. Same boat, essentially. Though IdrA does have his hatch down. The problem with going this build that WhackMaster did, and once again he's a random player, so it doesn't surprise me they went for some form of more aggressive opening. The problem if you go for that opening and it gets stuffed, is that you are going to be unbelievably behind. His hatch is just starting, and he didn't get any economic damage done. He forced some crawlers out, but these crawlers are going to be important throughout the game for blocking out the front. So it's IdrA's in a much better position right now. He's even getting up his gases. So let's see what's going on this side. Finally going back into 2 gases. He's only got 2 people in this gas. I wonder if that's intentional or not. But right now it would be a pretty big waste to try and bust this down. It will be interesting to see what IdrA transitions into, because he's only got, I think, the 1 gas. Very surprising. He's going to drone up really heavy, I would assume. But I would be more expecting him to be using his advantage that he has to be able to get some tech in place. Oh well. Anyways, back to my opinion of Evil Genius's IdrA. I liked him because he was so unique in the grand scheme of cancel. Well, that's just energy anyway, so that's not that big a deal. Maybe go for roach or something like that if he's spreading the creep. IdrA was so polarizing and so vocal. You just don't run into a lot of that in the gameplay community. I just casted a game with Nurture recently, which shows me that maybe he's going to be the next big vocal, upset dude in the Zerg race. But you just don't have those people that are willing to speak their mind at such a high level and talk about what they find disappointing in the game. That means you're either going to agree with them and you're a fan, you disagree with them and you think he's a whiny bitch. Regardless, I liked him for being unique in that sense. Still doing lots of drones. We do see IdrA getting, it looks like it's going to be Roach, because he is getting his ranged attack up. One thing I don't think I've ever seen in a Zerg versus Zerg game is swarm hosts. I wonder how well those would work. That's kind of funny. IdrA almost loses 2 overlords there. He does manage to catch the second one, though. He should be able to get that one away just fine. Didn't quite supply block IdrA, but he is going to have to consider throwing down something else. We see the Spire going down now from WhackMaster, so he looks like he's playing a much more standard version of what I see currently in the metagame of Zerg versus Zerg. IdrA is still worried about getting up some more drones. More overlords so it doesn't get blocked, and you need these overlords if he is going to put out a whole bunch of roaches. Getting the macro hatch, which is fine. There's the roach one. So by the time this is ready to bust, he should have a lot of larvae and a lot of supply cap to move across the map. The problem is that WhackMaster will probably be done his spire not long afterwards, so there's going to be a very short window of time open for IdrA. The reason why I like WhackMaster's opening with a speedling, baneling, even if it didn't work, is that you do get the map control. You can go and take these bases easier. When I hate Zerg versus Zerg, if you go not for Zergling, baneling, and you decide to play something else, you're probably going to be stuck back behind this. We do see 1 spore crawler going down. I think that's the only one. This might be to dealing with burrow play as well, so it's a fairly intelligent position to put it in. IdrA did scout this expansion. He should probably be running all of his overlords home if he expects his opponent to be going for spire attack. 10 mutas on the way. It's very impressive how many mutas that WhackMaster is able to get together just off of 2 bases. But IdrA's not put any pressure on him this game, so it's been pretty easy. The good thing about WhackMaster having this Overseer here is that those mutas should be able to kill off all this creep. Oh, he does have Hydras as well, so he should be able to move out on the map with his Hydras and be in a better position. This is good cider. Now, I don't believe IdrA has really anticipated this because he didn't scout. Oh, that almost went down. Should be killed when it gets over to the other queen, though. Oh, IdrA, he actually almost had amazing timing with his Hydras coming in. Looks like WhackMaster's going to pull away for a second. He did get supply blocked, so he might be waiting for the push out. IdrA is going to be taking this base, and you can see he's working harder to push his creep this way so that he will be able to defend it. I believe he did see... He must have seen... Yeah, it looks like he killed an overlord over here, so IdrA does know that it is going to be Ultralisks. It's pretty cheap. Now, as a Zerg player, it is always worthwhile to throw down some spores. I know that there's not many pro players for some reason that like to do that. And it is always better to have mobile defense than it is to have static defense. But with spore crawlers doing double damage to Ultralisks, get out some spore crawlers, put 2 in each mineral line, and they'll cut through so much of the muta play. Unbelievably so. It is totally a worthwhile investment in my mind, particularly when you've got a couple extra 100 minerals floating around. If you lose 8 drones from a muta run by, which is about to happen, his Hydralisks are not going to get back there in time to really deal with it. So that's why a couple of spores is definitely going to help you stay alive. Here come in the mutas. Looks like they're going to get some... Oh, there is 1 spore in here. He is going to target it down. But you notice that this one spore has already killed off a single Mutalisk. Oh, not very great control out of WhackMaster here. I know he wants to kill the queens. But queens are a little bit easier to replace here. Lost quite a bit of mutas. That's one spore killed one muta on its own when there's 10 mutas shooting at it. So they are definitely capable of doing lots of damage. Another spore going up. Still conservative, just the one. You guys play it however you want, and most pros do it that way, so maybe I'm the one that's wrong, believe it or not. I am just a fan and a believer that they are a worthwhile investment. Oh, bad control there. Lost a lot of mutas on that push. A little bit of an interesting spread from IdrA here. Looks like he really wants to get up to an unbreakable army before he pushes out. He's got a great supply lead, great saturation on the third base, whereas this one's barely got any. I think WhackMaster is really hoping that his different pressures that he's put on, either with the early ling, baneling, or the muta, was going to break IdrA. So he's actually playing a really smart game. Lots of queens, super worthwhile. He's got enough energy for some transfusions, so I think it'd be okay for him to maybe heal up the ones that are a little bit busted. Baneling's obviously extremely good against Hydras. Where are the roaches? Where are the roaches? Oh man. That was sick. 11 more Hydras on the way, but whatever happened to all those roaches? Did I miss an attack or something? There's the roaches. Not many there, but it should be enough to at least keep their space alive for a little bit. IdrA can't really afford to fall behind on economy. We saw... Well, we're still at lair tech. We see a corruptor coming out. I thought it might be interesting if WhackMaster was going to be going for broodlords. I almost got that last Mutalisk. Let's look at what kind of damage got done here. 14 workers killed for WhackMaster. That was mostly to this one point as well. So that was pretty decent attack. He isn't ahead of supply anymore. And it looks like he's still not building any more workers. He's just focusing on attacking units, roaches and banelings. IdrA's obviously going to have really good upgrades. 0-0 upgrades and 0-0 upgrades. Whereas we've got 2-2 already finished for IdrA. The upgrades in this battle are going to be a huge difference. WhackMaster's going to need some pretty sick baneling hits if he's going to be able to take care of this. He is going for a 4th base behind this, which is good. Need to get those roaches in the front. There, he's moving the Hydras back, at least, so that way the banelings are all crashing into the roaches, not the Hydra split. The thing about Zerg players is they don't really know how to split. That's not really... It's not really part of their design. That attack was pretty bad out of Taskmaster. Lost a lot of his banelings on roaches, and when he's 0-0 against 2-2, gonna be pretty tough. The other good thing about having more spore crawlers kicking around in your base is that when you finally do push out for an attack and 10 more Mutalisks pop out for your opponent, so you're not just gonna lose to their retaliation. Still very interesting that WhackMaster, let's look at the units tab here. What kind of workers does he actually have in place? 41, so he's been significantly behind in worker supply this game. Investing a lot into more army, but he's just really far behind right now. And his upgrades are far behind. He doesn't have the production capacity. Another base doesn't do him a lot of good if he doesn't have more workers. I don't think that he's doing this in the right way. Particularly when IdrA has not crossed halfway down the map once this game. He could have really droned up to 70 drones and be in a much better position now to be able to put on pressure. Creep out of IdrA is doing amazing. Hasn't panicked about getting up his 4th, it's just going up now. It looks like this will be scouted by WhackMaster at the same time. IdrA will come. He'll just send a handful of units down here to kill this. He knows that the major attack is likely going to happen along the north side again. Guess now's the time to push out a little bit here. Once again, need really good baneling hits out of our Terran player WhackMaster. There's our banelings. I don't know if this is going to work, but WhackMaster might not have a lot of a choice at this point. Trying to run past into the Hydras. Good. There's a really nice concave here out of IdrA. IdrA did take a lot of damage. But the upgrades are telling the whole story here. Even if the Hydras don't tank well against the roaches. Lots of Zerglings coming in. IdrA's going to get himself into a good spot though to deal with this. Interesting. Yeah, this base might get cancelled, but WhackMaster still super behind in economy and units. I think he's going to have to cancel this still. Cancel this still. Should cancel. And actually does save the drone. And starts building again. That's fantastic. WhackMaster keeps getting further and further behind. Most of his supply right now is in army. I'm actually very surprised he went for roaches when he has invested nothing in upgrades. Now IdrA feels completely confident about pushing out, and he should. There's so little that WhackMaster can do to really stop this. This base has been up for a while and has absolutely served him no purpose. Interesting little push, just 3 Hydras up here to see if there's more banelings, and there are. One random Hydra running around. Lots of static defenses. Once again, the problem with going Roach Hydra is it is still more immobile than a lot of the things Zergs can use. So of course he's going to get up the crawlers here to deal with any types of run-bys that may happen. Might be able to get some pretty good kills here. Oh no, the banelings did not go after workers. I'm surprised WhackMaster's still in this game, and I'm also surprised IdrA hasn't told him to leave the game yet. That's really his style. When he finally gets a lead, is just to tell people to leave. We got the first upgrade coming out from WhackMaster. I'm betting that Zerg is not his primary race. This base is up. I would expect him to move some drones over and build up some more static defenses over there. He's got a lot of drones on this base. He can afford to move a few. Such a patient game out of IdrA. Just no rush. He is supply blocked. There's just no rush for him to go and kill everything. He knows he's in the lead. WhackMaster still isn't building any units. Oh, this is a classic Sean Copen move. I'm going to get out a Ultralisk dead and hope that I just happen to win against fully upgraded ranged army. I've actually almost won games with Ultralisks doing that, but if he had 3/3 upgrades already finished for his melee units, and fungals to hold the army in place, maybe. But this is pretty desperate out of WhackMaster. I mean, he's got a huge bank because he hasn't spent it on anything. 3 Ultralisks and a chitinous a plating. I don't even know what IdrA's his mindset's at right now. He's got the whole map. He knows the players on essentially. Well, this base is still. Oh, pardon me, Magner's burps. This base is about half a base. Gonna try to do some Zergling run by counters. Only a couple crawlers at this base, but his army's hovering right in the middle, and he's got the creep to give him vision. So these Zerglings shouldn't get too much done. He is on hold position in there to try to kill more workers. I don't think he got a single worker in all that. Meh. He did manage to build himself back up to 140 supply by going for pure Ultralisk. Baneling. Now, if he managed to get sick Baneling hits on the army, and he had the Ultras that got actually up next to IdrA's army, maybe have the lings surround it, I'd give him the most outside of chances. He's got to wait for those last 3 Ultralisks to pop, though. Oh, IdrA is going the wrong way. Let's see how quickly he notices. He notices. Is there no creep right there? That's interesting. Blew something up with a baneling. Desperation crawlers. Those aren't going to even get anywhere near up in time. But if he trades banelings on those, it will be worthwhile. Here comes the banelings. A lot of Hydras in the front getting killed off by all the banelings. IdrA lost so much supply right there. Holy crap. Well, he's got 6 Ultras up in this biznatch. They are lasting pretty good. IdrA's still getting his supply back up as he even makes a pile of roaches. But these Ultras aren't really dying. And they, all they've got is chitinous plating on them. Getting a little confused in the spot here. I guess he is going to focus down the hatch. IdrA is going into broodlords after this. That's fine. I would almost consider WhackMaster should go home right now. I don't know if this is going to help him. I don't think he's going to break down the front. He might be able to snipe down the hatch, but there are lots of crawlers over here. Oh, even more ultras. This shouldn't work. Like, this really shouldn't work, right? Splash damage on the roaches is killing them off really fast. Looks like he will turn WhackMaster away, but if that worked, I was going to be upset. I'd been on IdrA's side about that one. 6 broodlords. He does need to have corruptors out because there is a spire available for WhackMaster. So a handful of Ultralisks would kill everything. Sees the next base down. We look at the units. Let's see how many workers there are. Well, IdrA's still got a pretty good lead, but once again, we really haven't seen any worker productions out of WhackMaster. Maybe IdrA's being too conservative during this. I mean, there's no static defenses, even like one crawler. Like, maybe do like a 4 roach run by, some Zerglings, because the Zerglings at least have the armor upgrade, like something like that maybe. Don't know. Just because IdrA's put on almost no pressure this game, it's hard for me to really, you know, sympathize with him losing bases. He's down to the same number of bases essentially as WhackMaster. Well, WhackMaster does have a new base up. Here's a little bit of a run. They don't even have speed yet. Well, at least he's listening to what I'm saying. That Ultra is going to clean everything up pretty easy. On the north side, it looks like fall back with the roaches. Fall back with the roaches. IdrA's got to go for economic damage right now. He has to. It's just too good of a position right now for WhackMaster. Like, IdrA doesn't have the bank. He spent everything he's got on this. It looks like it might be base tradey season. That's interesting. He has ling over here doing some damage. WhackMaster doesn't have enough money for another hatch. A lot of overlords sitting around. Going to be a bit of a shooting gallery. There's some idle units here for WhackMaster that would really do him a little bit of good. I don't know if IdrA's in the best position for this base trade. If he walled this up, maybe get some Evo chambers down with the crawlers, might be a good idea. He should pull out some of his workers here just to be able to build some buildings to the front. A good thing for IdrA to do is to try and find overlords to shoot down. If he can supply block WhackMaster, that's going to help him out a big deal. As a Zerg player, if you're base trading, save your overlords. Take all the overlords and run them away. If you get supply blocked, you don't want to have to spend all the money on getting new overlords out. Well, there's a +1 upgrade for WhackMaster, but there's just too many corruptors here. Did IdrA get out a drone? I don't know. Did something go down up here? No. He actually has enough to build another hatchery. I don't know the last time I've seen a Zerg versus Zerg base trade. This is kind of funky. Well, I don't know where the hatch for IdrA is. It hasn't said he's getting revealed yet. There is a spire going down from IdrA somewhere. Did he hide it? Where is it? Oh, he's building it over here. That is a terrible move. That's not even on creep that's going to stay. That will get killed off eventually just by the fact that the creep's going to reside. Oh, no. There's a hatch going down for WhackMaster. It's just there's more mobility out of the Zerg player. This Zerg Ultralisk army will be able to kill off IdrA's stuff faster. Very crazy. Yep, IdrA does not have enough money to rebuild himself a hatchery. I think IdrA might lose this. he might lose this game. If I don't know what IdrA should do. He's got to keep his queens at home. I don't know if the creep really helps him at all. He's got to keep his transfuses for his queens. He needs to send some unit to start exploring around the map. This is actually kind of tense. The only thing that would help out IdrA here is the broodlords having enough of broodlings to be able to make a wall. Because IdrA knows that WhackMaster has a hatch up. See, once again, the spire's dying. No, he's attacking the fucking spire! Oh, IdrA, why'd you make a spire? IdrA, why'd you make a spire? At least a crawler, you can pick it up and move it. And it will be alive longer. Well, he's still going to build himself an extractor. This is really, really weird. Thing is, this WhackMaster's got these creep tumors to scout what it is that IdrA is doing. This is really important. These roaches are faster than most of the Zerg army, but he has the Zerglings here to be able to make the surround. We don't have, out of this yet, a spawning pool, which is probably wise, because this way WhackMaster can make more hatcheries. Yeah, he's got enough money for a pool and a hatchery. IdrA, what are you going to do, man? These things don't serve him any purpose. They need to run around the map everywhere. They're doing him no good at home. It's a good chunk of roaches and queens, but if WhackMaster's super supply blocked. So he's going to have to invest so much money into overlords before he can actually even afford it. And if IdrA figures out where WhackMaster is, he can shoot down all the overlords as they pop out. This is actually really important. If he can get those overlords before WhackMaster can start making Zerglings, he might be able to just keep WhackMaster at bay for a while. IdrA is splitting up. He might as well just keep a couple of them with the army of the opponent if he can't shoot at them. Come on, IdrA, where you going? You know you gotta check the top left. There you go. There's no anti-air up here. You gotta go for the overlords. No! Shoot. That's actually really important. He needs to kill those overlords. I know they can hit them with the corruption spell. Oh, there's one queen in here. Oh no, IdrA. Oh noes. What? This is really, really interesting. There are the transfuses to be able to... There's only one queen for transfuses. Here he goes. He's going to go for it. I think he's going to get it too. IdrA's trying to fall back. I don't think it's going to be enough though. IdrA is blocking the ramp. These transfuses are going to have to be exceptional. Where's your fucking... Shit! Did his last building die somewhere? Structures. Yes! Did his spire just blow up? IdrA. That's sad. I feel really sad about that. Anyways, once again, one of the final IdrA games I'm going to be able to cast as part of EG. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I have some more games coming up for you real soon.